You're just like your father. You're lazy. You're never gonna be more than lazy. You can't do this. You're gonna fail at everything.
You don't know anything.
You're fat. You're stupid.
Why do you even bother to try?
You're a worthless piece of...
You're a failure.
Who do you think you are? We believe we come here to participate in the fullness of the human experience. Since our inception on this earthly plane, we are told what to believe and our limitations. A great deal of human sorrow is a feeling of incompleteness, brought about by limited thinking of our divine potential. The time has come to awaken to consciousness and become multi-dimensional beings and become one with the multiverse of creation. Following the fire within, guided by our Pyro compass.
Hi, we're Pyro Compass, and I'm John.
I'm Brian.
We'd like to thank you folks for tuning in today. We hope to touch on something about dimensions. And when we talk about dimensions, I'm thinking more about ghosts, perhaps travelers from other dimensions.
So you also want to tap into the paranormal then?
Well, I think it's all tied together.
Oh, all right. So where would you like to start this? I know that you have a really incredible story.
I do. I have a story about a good friend of mine growing up. We were friends from 5 years old, and this is about 10 years ago. He killed himself, and I've had him come to me in dreams before. And I was thinking about him one night. I was at a previous house and sitting on the computer and having a few drinks. It was a Friday night, just enjoying computer time and
some quiet time.
It really was, and the lights started blinking above me, the recessed ceiling lights, and that was not uncommon for this house. And I knew there was probably spirit activity there, but is it there, or are we just conduits of it? I don't know.
Now, had you ever experienced activity in that house prior to this?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so was this different?
I kind of knew it was him. Don't ask me how. Just a gut feeling. I knew it was him.
Had you been thinking about him?
I don't think so, but he popped into my head. And did I trigger it, or was he trying to get into my head? I don't know.
All right, well, what happened then?
But the funny part was, I knew he was trying to get my attention. And usually I've always talked to spirits and say, it's like, okay, stop dimming the lights. You're making my electricity bill fluctuate. and costing me money, you're knocking off. But I knew it was him. And I went with it. And the lights became more aggressive the way they blinked. And
really?
And it was like it was trying to get my attention. And all of a sudden...
Sounds like it did.
It did. And I paid attention. And the one right over my head went pop. It blew. And as soon as that popped, I got a friend request from my friend's son.
Are you serious?
And it was the coolest thing. It's like I knew, like, he was trying to tell me something, and I didn't know what it was, but I knew he was trying to get my attention. But then when the light popped, and it just boom, a friend request on Facebook.
Well, how soon after the light bulb blew?
10 seconds. It was that quick.
That's a quick turnaround right there.
It really was, and it was like, pay attention. And to me, it was a heads up. I want you to hear something.
Did his son have anything to say specific?
No. It was just a friend request, which I accepted. But it was like he was
excited that his son was going to be talking.
And I don't know if his son was talking to his father, perhaps, or something like that. And it makes you wonder: is some part of the other side, the other dimension, still try to influence us or get in touch with us?
Of course they are.
Whether it be through dreams, channeling, anything. Synchronicities.
Have you ever had that dry moment where you're not doing anything, you're washing dishes or something maybe, and you'll get this thought, intuition, usually a thought, and then like not long after that it just happens exactly the way you thought it?
Oh, yes, definitely. But I think those chores, and I've often talked about that myself as far as painting, to me, it's a brain dead activity.
It's a meditative state.
It really is. It puts you in that zone, just that repetition. But I can get in that way washing a floor, on your hands and knees. It's like just the movement in itself creates a blank space.
I think that's pretty incredible. That you can, because it's true. There's actually something called bowl washing hypnosis, I believe it's called, because of the circular motion you keep making. when you're washing dishes, and it kind of puts you in a zen state.
That would make sense. The repetition of it.
Yeah, but I wonder how much has to do with also being involved in water. Water's a great grounding conductive.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So when you think about that, and I have a story.
Go ahead.
My turn. I actually, you're done with your story because I like your story.
Yeah, no, I'm done with that one.
Can I have a question about your
ahead.
story? Did you ever tell your friend's son?
No.
What?
No. If I met him face to face, I would probably be comfortable enough to tell him that. Because I have a feeling he's probably into that.
Was this near the anniversary or anything like that?
Gosh, I don't remember when that happened. I don't remember.
Well,
it was.
But you don't always have to be on the people that pass away side of this. One of my examples of this, and this is just incredible stuff. I love this stuff. I was actually doing dishes one night, and
It was that time of year already, huh?
well, I couldn't afford Dixie cups anymore. They're getting pricey. I was to buy wine glasses. And that one dish, it was dirty. so anyways, I have a friend, and his wife was pregnant, and the child was supposed to be born in December, and they didn't know the sex of the child or anything. And I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just washing a bowl. And all of a sudden it popped in my head. The date was going to be November, and I can't remember the date now. This is years ago. And it was a girl. Well, I called my friend, and I said, "You're having a girl, and she's coming in November, not December." And he had, just for the heck of it, just said, "I'm going to write this down in case we want to come back to it later." So he wrote it down. He kept it in his wallet. Well, I get a phone call one night in November, and it's him. Turns out I had the exact date, and it was a girl. So, even though nobody had passed, I was still able to get into that Zen state.
The funny part about, especially who I know you're talking about, who it happened to, some part of him wants to believe in that.
Some part of him does want to believe in it, and I'm hoping that as we're able to progress with our subscribers, please feel free to subscribe again to us, that we're going to be able to start taking phone calls in, and even might have him on. He's actually a doctor. We'll have him in as a guest speaker.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I think we both are very receptive. We both like to learn. Not that we have to believe everything, but we like to learn and explore.
And I think that the other big part that we need to do and express to other people that feel like us is, we don't have to push it on to people, but you can plant the seed. John planted a seed with me the other morning. I do it with him a lot of mornings just for fun, and I think we tap base on this, but this is how easy it is to get in somebody's head. He was away at work, and he texted me some lyrics. He said, "I got this song in my head." It was "Song of the South" by Alabama. It's just because I read the text, and of course I sent him back the next set of lyrics. I couldn't shake that song for the entire day. It was in my head all day long until I played the song.
Well, the funny part is, and I remember questioning you on this, and it's like, I don't know why this is in my head. It wasn't a song that I sang or anything like that. And I said, maybe it actually the Song of the South. And I think the lyrics I quoted you were, it's like, we were so poor we couldn't tell. The Wall Street fell.
Yes.
And it's like, and lo and behold, Wall Street went down 1,000 points that day, which was kind of funny in itself.
So John, I think maybe you ought to go into some of this stuff. I think you could make some money on the market.
Well, have you ever done like horse racing?
No.
That in itself to me is just like,
that's intuition.
Everybody looks at the stats of the horse, and it's like,
no.
I always like zoning. It's like, I like the name of this one,
or the number,
and it could be something like that.
One of the things that John and I, when we first got to know each other, we both thought was rather interesting is our favorite number is 33. 33 is a positively great number for us.
Yep.
So if I saw a horse with 33, I would just go for it. I'm betting on that horse.
Yeah, it's there's something to it, and whether it be that gut feeling about the horse, or is there other part? That goes back to dimensions. Are we multi-dimensional beings that have access to this information? And that's what it's all about, tapping into that other parts of yourself that might have, maybe a future version of yourself. And I talked about that when we first met. It's like, I'm a type of person. It's like if you wanted to change something in your past, you can't really change it, or can you? I mean, we're looking in linear time. What happens when you step outside of time? And it's like if you go beyond your physical shell, and if energy lasts forever, why could you not go back to a previous version of yourself, say when you were 5 years old, and give yourself a pep talk? If all timelines are coexisting as one, can you cross that barrier?
I believe that you're 100% correct. They are all running in conjunction with each other. It's just learning how to hop from one to the other. And I think one of the best TV shows that do the timeline jumping that I like to watch is The Flash. Because he's always going back and changing time, but there's always consequences, and I think that there are consequences to doing so.
Oh, definitely.
I believe that my father, though we were not close, I believe that he somehow swapped his dimensional body with a body from another dimension. And the story to prove this is, I was just telling John this morning this story. My father had multiple sclerosis, and before I was born, his right eye froze, and he couldn't move it. And one morning...
Okay, how many years have lapsed?
17 years? 18 years?
So, 17 years, he had an issue.
17 years that I know for sure his right eye never moved.
Okay.
He couldn't move it. And my mother shrieks one morning, and I fly off the couch, and I get out there, and I go, was everything okay? And she goes, look at your father's eye. Watch. Do it. And my father went to move his eye. It moved, and it moved. Even I was surprised that it moved. The funny thing is, John will go through this. I will go through this. That we both went through it this morning. But my father said it that morning. It feels when I woke up like I wasn't all here yet. Now, I don't think my father's body just healed at this point. I think my father somehow dimension jumped or timeline jumped. I'm going to go dimension jumped into another dimension in his sleep and brought back his mirror image of himself from another dimension, his other self from another dimension. And I believe that in that dimension, both eyes worked.
I have heard things about people saying like there's an artist in every single one of us, or a musician.
Correct.
And all you have to do is get into that zone, access that realm. You can pull that information back. So there might be a really good musician, it could be a concert pianist type thing that you could actually tap in, pull that back. I mean, if you get out of your left brain thinking that you're just confined to this body, and know that you can travel different realms with your mind, go grab the information. Okay, let's take that your rainbow body. The
rainbow body. Now explain that to the viewers, please.
No, it's your. It's like even like the picture of a rainbow. I mean, it's crossing. It lands on the earth or wherever it is, but it's like Wizard of Oz. It brings you to another land.
I gotta ask, because I don't know anybody out there, that if this has happened to you, please chime in, leave a comment, email us. You can find us online everywhere at YouTube, Pyro Compass. Leave a comment, please. But have you ever stood somewhere where it was the actual end of the rainbow?
No.
Wouldn't that be amazing? To see where it's landing onto the ground?
What if you're doing that with your mind, your energetic body, when you're throwing out a will or a prayer?
Will. You were just talking about will.
Some part of communication that you're longing for something. Now, whether it be a prayer, a higher knowledge, you're casting it out to the universe and you're waiting for it to come back.
Okay, I need to bounce back to the will, because you brought up an interesting thing about will last week, and we didn't have a chance to do one. But you find it interesting. It's the last will and testament before somebody passes.
Yep.
But we also know that DNA it has genetics in it from prior relatives, ancestors. Now, you brought up something that really got me thinking, and that was when you leave somebody their will. Is it their will, as in not just their estate stuff, but their will, their enthusiasm, their will, their want that they want in life? Are you adopting that if that will is left to you?
Earthly treasures or possessions, yes. But I think you're right. I mean, can you actually leave that strength? Well, we talked about that. What was it? Outlander. They used to go around and just chop off people's heads.
Outlander. No, Highlander.
Highlander. And you think about that. Is there some meaning to it? I mean, look at even like an animal sacrifice that people used to do, and it's like, are they absorbing that essence, that energy force, life force from that animal when they do that?
Well, for people that haven't watched Highlander in the series, if you cut another immortal's head off, he would get their power, their energy, force. And that's what you're calling this right now. That's what you're saying.
Well, you know what's funny? Going back to your will comment, and I'm only saying this because last week there was a funeral that I went to, and everybody's praying. It was very growing up Baptist. It was very Baptist. It was more like being in church, but too preachy for my liking.
Wait till I release you.
It was very structured, but when everybody's praying, I'm observing everybody, and just out of rebellion, I'm not closing my eyes. I'm just looking around the room, and when people are praying like the Lord's Prayer, it's like I was amazed at how many people were touching themselves, as far as like spirit was on them.
Wait, are you talking about around the neck area, like when we're
just
talking this energy?
Fidgety. They were touching themselves, and I don't even know how many people actually did it. But the funny part is when they're doing this, I almost got like a sense of strength about it. Not having my eyes closed, like it was almost like, like with
it sounds like manipulation in a way.
Outlander. I want to keep saying Outlander, Highlander. It's like when he got the power, the download. It was like the pain.
It usually brought him to his knees,
right? But it's funny at this service. It was almost like that will, or whatever was being honored there. I could feel like that strength coming into me, and I felt charged right up. It was like capturing it. I don't know how to word it other than that.
So, all right, I know, I have to go this way. So you're saying that because everybody was focusing on the same thing, there was an energetic heightenment right there happening.
Definitely.
Now, on top of the funeral, you also were talking about the next day being Super Bowl Sunday, and you have a theory about Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, I've always thought that many people concentrating their energy on one thing, it's a vortex of energy. And what are they doing? No. I know they're all putting it on a certain team, but I'm sorry, that's energy. If you can capture that energy, can you imagine? You can harness it and you can use it to your own liking.
Now, can you imagine all that energy, like this last Super Bowl, being played in a dome with nowhere for that energy to go to? And the team that gets rooted for the most, I guarantee you, is going to be the team that wins. And guess what? You had more Eagles fans in that dome than you had Patriots fans. And you could tell by the screaming. And the Eagles won the game. Who had more energy behind them? Life force energy.
But look how you feel after you exert that much energy. You've got an initial charge, yes, but don't you kind of crash the next day?
It depends. If I'm a Patriots fan.
Yeah. You crash. You got a cold.
I did this week after it, but I don't know if that's it or not. But it kind of depends. You're right though, because last year when they won, I was, if it goes the right way, I mean, my energy stays for days.
Yep.
It's an energetic high, and but there are questions for me that I really have when it comes to a stadium in particular. And that's the Superdome in Louisiana. We know during Hurricane Katrina that a lot of people stayed in there.
Yeah.
Many people passed away in there, and the fact there so many had passed away in there, they had thought about tearing that dome down. And I was wondering why they were thinking about tearing the dome down, and they said that they felt that it would be disrespectful to the people that passed away. I don't think that's it. I think it actually comes down to their spirit activity in there now, because of all the trauma that went through there.
Well, look at 9/11. I mean, just
yes,
and what they did. It was being built when you went there, right? The fountain.
The Freedom Tower was still in progress of being built. Yes,
yeah. And it's like you've that much loss of life.
But I touched some of the iron they made a cross out of it and put it on the sidewalk from the Twin Towers, and I got a jolt when I touched it.
Oh, I believe it. I think energy holds on something. There's no doubt about it. But even this pool that they created there, it's like,
what did they just do when they did the pool? What did they do when they added water?
It looks like a portal.
And it amplified. It's going to amplify anything.
True.
It's
It would.
grounding.
It would. Now, is that a gateway to other realms with that much energy?
Well, let's jump into one of John's favorite shows here, The Magician.
Yep.
All right, we have a traveler in there, and his name is Penny in the show.
Yep.
And there's a water fountains that he'll dive into. Correct.
I didn't even think about the correlation. Yeah, you're right.
So there you go, and you're talking about a walker here, a traveler. A traveler is what you're talking about. So you're saying now you've made a portal in the 9/11 district, or Ground Zero district, I guess is what they really call it. Now you've added water and a fountain, so you've just made it easier for entities to come to and from. Is that what you're saying, John?
It would stand to reason.
Don't make me ask again, young man.
It would stand to reason.
See, then I would like to revisit it now since they put that in
Yeah,
and see if I can feel that energetic difference.
I've never gone to, not since after it happened, but it would be interesting.
All right. I like where you're going with this, and I like this paranormal talk, anyways. So you've had many, and we'll get to my
I've seen
stuff.
full body apparitions and stuff. Yeah.
Now, the first time that John and I ever got together and we just hung out, we played some music, did our stuff, and John played a song that happened to be my mother's favorite song, or one of them, and John had never seen a picture of my mother. So here we go again. This is just valid proof. So he texts me the next morning and says to me, "I had a woman come into my room last night on the left side, which means it's a mother. Please take it from there."
Oh, I didn't know who it was. I mean, usually it's after I get in bed and hit the pillow, I start seeing that stuff. It's like I haven't even hit the pillow yet. My eyes are closed. It's like I've already got this thing in my head going on. Nobody I knew. And like I said, I described her and you zoned in on it and said, "That's my mother."
I believe it was, "Oh my God, that's my mother."
But it was really weird. It's like that presence wanted to be known. And like I said, I wasn't even at the pillow yet. It's usually after I settle down. It's like it was that quickly.
Well, yeah, because what I get from your descriptions when you talk about what happens, it's like you're almost between a dream state and awake at the same time, and that's when you get that type of vision.
Yeah.
And this is before you hit the pillow, and she's also come to you, so a sense, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've seen that. You've seen that in body as well. And you also have another thing that I find really interesting happens to you a lot. And sometimes it usually jumps the hell out of you, which I think it's funny. If you've ever seen John jump, it's funny.
No, it's not.
But you had two weeks ago.
Talk about the orbs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It'll come up on the side of me and just scare the crap out of me from behind. And it's like,
Now, you had one at the old house you were at that you were going down the stairs and it kind of came right at your face and almost knocked you down.
It came right up at me. It's like, which kind of it scared me, especially being on stairs. I mean, there was a big stairwell, and it's like,
yeah,
it shocks you. It really does.
I see these orbs.
And they're not just out of the side, because sometimes you can see them coming right at you. Most of the time it's white haze. I don't know what to call it.
Okay.
I've seen black ones too, but these were white. They're really.
White's always better.
But they startle you when they happen.
I have to ask John or any of our viewers out there that are listening, have you heard the story here in Maine about the Devil's Footprint?
There's something about that sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
Well, it was this place, and supposedly the lore, which I love that word because it really it's almost like you're being lured in. And I got lured into this and going to check it out, and because the story goes...
Where was it?
It's in Manchester, Maine. And it's a little hard to find. It's on a back road next to a church now. But they were trying to put the road in. This was years and years ago. I want to say early 1900s. And there was a boulder they couldn't move. They tried everything. They could not move it. And one coworker stayed after work. And another one came back, and he was standing on this boulder that they couldn't move. And he said that he would give his soul to the devil if he would just move that rock. And he said it with anger. They said that he was furious. The next day, they came back. The boulders moved. There's a hoof print and a boot print on the rock, and the guy's never seen again. And this is supposedly a true story.
Can you see the rock?
Yes, you can see the rock. I was actually just thinking I really should bring you sometime if you'd be interested in going.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
It's very interesting with the hoof print and the boot print. And the lore again is incredible right there. When I was about 16 years old, maybe 17, me and my friend John, I think I collect Johns. It just sounds like me and my friend John, not this John, childhood John.
Childhood friend.
Yeah, my childhood best friend growing up. So we knew my house had some activity. His did too. But I was home alone. It was just before Christmas. My folks had gone Christmas shopping. And I could hear somebody walking around upstairs. And I knew that my brother-in-law wasn't home. His car was gone. So I called my friend John. And I said, can you come over here? I'm hearing something strange. And so he came over. He's like, what's up? And we both sitting there. And all of a sudden you could hear these heavy footprints walking in a circle up by which would have been in the kitchen by the telephone. So my friend, being the bonehead that he is, I love him, he's just a bonehead, grabs a knife and we're going to go check this out. And I tell him, if this is a spirit, I really don't see how this is going to do you much good. But we go upstairs. We get up there. We're standing in the kitchen. The footsteps never stop. There's nothing there. We can hear exactly what's going on. We're looking right at the spot. You can't see anything. Nothing. All right, well, we're young, we're scared, we're stupid, we're bolting. We go down the stairs. Something, for some reason, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I had to go to the bathroom. Instantly. I asked him to wait for me.
Scared shitless.
It scared the shit right out of me, it really did. It scared the poop right out of me. So I'm sitting on the toilet, and all of a sudden he goes, Brian, it's coming down the stairs, so I can hear the stairs creaking. And I'm on the toilet, and I can too. Creak, creak, with a step sound. And we both tried to get out the door at the same time, got stuck. And the weird part to this, again, is my parents had just pulled in the yard. Me and John had just got out the door, and we're freaking out. We're telling my parents what's going on. My parents are going about everything like we're not talking about anything. It's like we're not even standing there. They just went about their business. They're like, that's nice, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Are you listening to me? You're not listening to me! So there's so much of that it's hard to explain. I don't know what to do with that.
I don't know. It makes you wonder, is it just trapped energy in the house?
Well, supposedly I found out after this, I decided to do some research, that there was a broken rafter in the attic of my house. And somebody's uncle had hung himself, and they cut the beam to get him down. I don't know why they just didn't cut the rope, but that was the story. And I have another one where my stereo came on by itself, because I moved into the attic before I knew any of this stuff, or my bedroom. Every teenager wants to be as far away from their parents as possible. And it came on by itself. I shut it off, got back in my bed. It's the middle of the day. It turned back on again. Shut it off. A third time I got angry, I unplugged it. It came back on. I am not kidding. No joke at all. I called John. Again, come over here. He's sitting there. Nothing's happening. All of a sudden, it comes on again. I have a witness this time. He looks at me and he says, I am out of here. I'm all done coming to your house. Because he had seen that the cord wasn't plugged in. Now, can an apparition or cause enough energy to fire up a stereo? When you consider that to run a stereo for an entire day costs you on the average half a cent, we're not talking about a lot of power here.
Well, everything's energy. I mean, if you can tap in and pull it out of the ether, why couldn't you make something run?
I like the ether part there.
Why couldn't you?
How is it? How do you figure this? Some dim lights and others give them so much power, like yours, it blows a light. What's the difference?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Is the dimming a weaker one that's trying to come through and the lights will flicker? That's what I'm going to go with. It's like the cemetery here in Wyndham. It's known as one of the most haunted cemetery in New England. I mean, you consider how old Massachusetts is, that gives this thing a lot of credibility. And they say that even police won't go down there after dark.
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, you can look it up online too. The Wyndham Cemetery. It's great. Actually, I went on Halloween, and I got video. I brought video camera. I was all cool. I was like a Ghostbuster all by myself, you know. And I sounded like a screaming 12-year-old when I left too. I was standing there. For the weirdest thing for me out of that whole thing that night was when I was standing there, and all of a sudden I heard something run right by me. And there was nothing there, and it wasn't an animal. It was too big to be an animal, but it ran right by me. It sounded like a child.
Oh, it's like, what was it, a couple weeks ago? My phone went off by itself. The podcast started.
That's right. That's right.
And it was really odd because I was in the shower, and I thought I heard something. And of course, your mind tries to
was
make
that the morning you heard the voice?
Yes.
What
Well,
did the voice say?
well, it sounded like John, I'm dying.
And this was a male or female?
It sounded like a female.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if that's what it said, or if my mind's just trying to make it sound like what it said, trying to put it together. Well, I came out of the shower, and then I come running out. Actually, you were here, so I ran out because you're outside, and I said, "Did you say something?" And it was just really kind of weird, and it just seemed so real to me. And then it was maybe 10 minutes later, my phone started doing a podcast,
It did.
and then it stopped. Didn't it do it twice?
Yeah, you stopped it
And then it started up again on its own.
all by itself.
And it's like, this is so weird. But it's like, it makes you wonder. Well, it goes back to it's.
What else happened that
it's
morning?
It's an electronic. I don't remember.
So I usually turn around here in the driveway, you know, when I come to visit in the
Oh,
morning.
that's right. That's right.
And so I was, you know, getting ready to leave, and I started to back around the driveway, and my vehicle revved to the point that I thought I was going in the backyard. I had no control over it, and then it just let right back up again. John thought I was just being like aggressively playful and wanted to spin out in the snow.
Yeah.
No, I really thought I was going in the backyard.
Well, it makes you wonder things from other dimensions, non-physical.
How many times have you felt some step on your throttle? How about after your friend passed away?
Yeah, it was shortly. Gosh, 10 minutes time.
Could you please share that experience? I was with you when it happened.
A good friend of mine passed away back in September, and she was always telling me that I drove too slow. I consider conservative more than anything, but she always told me that I drove too slow. Well, she died of cancer back in September, and when I found out, a coworker had texted me and let me know that she'd passed, and then it was a matter of time. And I swear it's not even 10 minutes after I get that notification. We're driving. We were just out for a ride, and the car accelerated on its own, not once, but twice.
Yep.
And I said, if anyone wants to get my attention, and to be specific of who it would be that person, because she was always telling me I drove too slow. Like, step on it, be more aggressive.
It was validation. Like, I don't know how you took it, but I took it as she felt free.
Oh, if any way she was going to get my attention, that would be the way. There'd be no question of who it was.
But she couldn't have done it in her physical body in the shape she was in.
Right.
So it was almost like, hey, John, I'm good.
No.
By the way, speed up.
No, there was no doubt in my mind that was one way of getting my attention. It was nice. It was nice validation.
I'm thinking right now about, I'm watching John, and I'm really fascinated by a lot of his stories. And he's got a lot of really good stories and thoughts. He will make you think. We will make you think.
Well, I think we all do in life. But the thing is, we don't talk about it, or we don't share them because it sounds so odd. And everybody's always worried about everybody else is going to think.
Most people are going to think what they want to think anyway, so you might as well be who you are.
And we don't need the validation, I guess. But it's...
We put the information out, not for validation so much as to let other people know that it's okay if you think differently.
No, definitely. We definitely think differently.
No, in fact, we encourage it. And
life would be boring if you didn't have a little variety in it.
there's enough sheep already, isn't there?
Oh, God, yes. Let the breathe the chemtrails.
I'm thinking about looking up some paranormal studies should be going on. And now I'm thinking about asking John on the air live. Hey, John, if I find one of these to go to, would you go with me?
I would like to do something like that. That wouldn't bother me.
If they bring the proof and stuff, it's usually after a study they'll bring the proof of what they found and then let you walk around the building or area. You would do that?
We're looking for scientific proof.
Yes.
which is nice. But let's go back to that center hill going up there. First time we went up there.
All right, now mind you, Center Hill is a place in Weld, Maine,
Yep.
and it is up in the middle of nowhere. There's no cell phone signal, nothing. And when I say it's up. It's a mountain. It's basically a mountain, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, John, go.
Well, you brought me up there the first time, and we're taking the path, and I'm just enjoying it.
And I had planted a cache.
Yeah, which I didn't know what it meant, but you told me you said we were almost to the top, but I zoned right on some other area. Yeah,
You kept saying there's something over there.
yeah, I could feel it, and I was pointing to the right, and how many times have you been up that hill prior to that?
At least 100.
Yeah, we walked over to that where I was being pulled, and it was like a swamp at the top of the pond.
Exactly.
The mountain.
A swamp.
It was weird. It had but it wasn't cattails. It looked like that, but something different.
It was like swamp grass.
But it was cool. It was like just a little bog.
What are the odds of there being a
But
swamp?
I was pulled to that water or that spot.
Well, it didn't have much water at the time. There was a little bit, not much, because it was fall.
But I
late
just
fall.
knew it was different.
You did, and you were pulled towards water.
And you never saw it before.
No, I can guarantee you that anybody I ask that spends a lot of time up there, and I know a lot of people, don't know that's there. I've walked right by it because you have to go through a little bit of woods to get to it. But you were so pulled that we went through the woods, and then you went, "Oh, that's what I feel."
Okay, now is it calling out to you? Is it an energetic signature? And that goes back to other realms. Is it the same thing? Something pulling you, trying to get your attention?
Well, it's the blood of the earth. If you think of it, that water veins.
No, true.
And in the human, your blood veins, no matter how you look at it. So were you in tune, for some reason, with that water vein?
There was something there.
But how do you get a vein to the top of
I don't know.
basically a mountain
I
like
don't
that?
know. But it was really weird where it was.
But there's no denying.
It didn't seem like it belonged there at all.
No, it looked like it would be in a boggy area, a low boggy
Yep.
area. And but there's a lot of quartz up there too, so there's a lot of, and that holds energy really well.
Definitely.
Really well. I think we should wrap this one up.
Okay.
And what do you think, John?
No, that's fine. I did want to touch base that we really do want to make this more interactive. Like I said, I listen to a lot of different podcasts, so if anyone's tuning in, what we're looking for is information on how to do call-ins. And kind of like to avoid Skype, only because of things Brian's read. But
this echo issues and stuff.
So if anyone has any information about that, we'd really appreciate it, because we really do want to have some interaction with folks, other than just comments, but we love the comments as well, so please keep that coming. It's not just our show, it's all of our show, and we want to make it that way.
We really want everybody to feel as though they're included and are welcome to call in.
Yeah, really do.
Yes, and I'm gonna be sporting a Pyro Compass T-shirt here pretty soon. Woo!
But again, we'd like to thank you spending time with us, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, of course we do. Thanks for taking this. Let's see, how long's it been? Yeah, thank you for spending 40 minutes with us today. And so again, I'm Brian,
And I'm John.
and we are
Pyro Compass.
And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.